Hello, everyone. Welcome to That Game Place with Culture Casino and Jonas J. Campbell. And Culture, I think we need some more names on that screen.
We do. We do need some more names. I think I'm going to have to add some names and mix up some of the game footage every once in a while. I think that'll be fun.
I think you're right. By the way, thank you for creating that intro. And I like the funky aspect of it. It's right there in that video game area where it's not quite a chiptune. I'm a big fan of the chiptunes myself. But that intro would not be nearly as good as it is without the help of the next person joining us on the panel today, and that is Space Dave 2000.
What is up, my friends? How are you doing this afternoon?
Doing good. Fantastic. How are you doing, Dave?
I can't complain. The air is breathable still, and the ice caps have not melted, so I'm still here.
Very good.
Are you in orbit, by the way?
I am. I see all, and you can't hide from my gaze way up here, people. Sorry about that.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
Good.
Now, one person that you might be looking down on, whether or not we're talking about altitude or morally, I don't know, but we do need to invite him onto the panel from Tooneytown Wrestling and Tooneytown TV. We'd love to have him here on That Game Place. Marvin the Movie Monster.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm on camera today.
All right.
I appreciate you combing out the fur.
Yeah. It takes a while. There's a lot of it. I'm Italian, so
it's tough when you're a fabricated American.
It is. It's not easy. I'm glad you see our plight.
I also want to say a welcome to me and my monkey, also to Griffin. I love this comment right here. So foreboding. Grim says soon. Captain Fandom Nerd, Little Mouse, Low Spec Linux Laptop. Ooh, that's a fun name to say.
I know.
Cocho, good to see you there.
Cocho.
That Game Place, get out of here. Juliet, Film Watcher 96, Joseph Frost goes. Butter Biscuit with the derogatory name there. Joshua Hammond, Tom F, JB's Spooky Reviews, and there are children present. Watch the link. What did he say? I don't even know what he said. And also,
I have a language problem. Yeah.
Last but not least, the gaming dude.
The gaming dude. We have somebody who'll be joining us soon. So, but when they get here, we'll let them sneak in.
That's very true. That's very true. Someone that we're very glad to have on the channel, and someone who helps us to be more weeb-like in our communication.
Yes.
Yep. That's right. And by the way, Butter Biscuit, love you too. That being said, we have a big story to talk about today. There are things that we just can't cover on That Park Place. In fact, when I'm here in this place, I shouldn't be talking about the other lady there, That Park Place. But there are things that we just can't talk about there. And here is an article from, well, you know who, talking about what's going on in the world of gaming. And some people might have had a small victory as another company has a big loss. Kotaku Australia has been shut down. This by John F. Trent from That Park Place. Kotaku Australia will be shut down as part of a major cost-cutting effort for its parent company, Pedestrian Group. Now, before we get into that too deeply, just from an economic standpoint, Dave, I wanted to ask you this question. When companies are profitable, does it save you money to shut them down?
Well, mate, let me tell you, in Australia, they've got these wallaby dollars. And if those wallaby dollars don't multiply for the company, like at Kotaku, then they get shut down, mate. They get shut down. I'm sorry about that.
I appreciate that very much,
Wow.
Dave. I attempted a British accent for Shad the other day from Shadiversity, and apparently he's Aussie, and I missed it.
Oh yeah.
So everyone in the
That is
comments were like, "What are you?
Australian.
That's awful."
And you got to be
Love-
careful between New Zealand and Australian. You can insult both guys.
Right, yeah,
I'm actually quite better at New Zealand
Yeah.
because you have to
Sure.
reverse your sixes and sevens.
It's
And
all
you,
right.
you have to be careful not to sound like Omega, who, anyway.
Maybe they'll shut down that next, mate.
Well, speaking of the more weeb-like among us, we need to add him onto the panel here, Mr. Spencer Baculi.
Kawaii desu all.
Wow.
I didn't understand a word you just said.
Konnichiwa sayonara.
Oh, ouch.
That is both hello,
Hello.
and goodbye.
That is. I'm getting it all out of the way up top.
Thank you so much for being here, Spencer. Glad to have you
My
as part
pleasure.
of the regular panelists here on that game
Yeah.
place. But we were just having a discussion about whether or not it saves you money to shut down something if it's profitable. As reported by the Sydney Morning Herald, Pedestrian Group is slashing at least 40 jobs and ending its licensing deals to publish third-party brands, including Vice, Refinery 29, Gizmodo, Lifehacker, and Kotaku in the coming months. Well, first of all, I want to say my condolences to those of you who will have to look for new work here.
Yeah.
Other than maybe some specific instances that might come out in discussing this, we don't wish anybody to lose their jobs or anyone to not have work. We hope you do find work. We just hope you don't find it in a way that continues to push some of the destructive narratives that Kotaku has pushed out in the world. The outlet adds these titles will no longer be published in Australia, with the majority of their staff to be let go. Now, maybe I'm crazy here, but I've heard that we have, especially considering my gaffe with the Shad accent here, that if you speak something in English, they can understand you in Australia. Is that crazy?
No, in fact,
only if you're really drunk.
no, I have a lot of Australian viewers, and I also have an Australian editor, so we speak the same language.
Yeah, I'm seeing some dual purpose here, like that maybe Australian is compatible with not just American but also English.
You just blew my mind.
I mean, crazy, absolutely crazy.
You're mad. You're absolutely mad.
Mizu to Gohan kudasai.
Don't touch my mustache.
I just ordered water and rice in Japanese.
And,
I'm learning.
I
It's
just
lesson
butchered
one.
a goodbye phrase and that's a joke from Toy Story 2 as well. B&T also reports that Pedestrian Group CEO Matt Rowley revealed the licensing deals were scrapped because it faced financial headwinds. Well, that's a softening of that phrase right there.
Unsurprising.
Yeah.
Most
He added,
unsurprising
given these
news of all
factors,
time.
given these factors, we've made the tough decision to focus on our wholly owned pedestrian brands, where we control the strategy, the content, the product, the sales, and the outcome, the entire business. This means that we will transition out of our current brand licenses, which will reposition our business for the future. Now, this is a question that I have specifically. Were they just licensing out these brands and letting other people do the work?
That's what
I
it
think-
sounds like to me,
Yes.
just based on what you
That is
just
what
said.
they were doing. Yeah.
And it sounds like
They were
this is-
basically funding the publishing infrastructure out there. So Gizmodo is the one who owns the Kotaku brand. So they said, "Hey, Kotaku," or "Hey, Gizmodo, can we license a Kotaku and publish it over here?" And they said, "Sure, go for it." And then they went, "We're not making any money off of this. We got to get out of here." Like, Vice is on that list. Didn't Vice shut down like 2 years ago? I could have sworn they were.
I feel like
They're
Vice
still
has shut down
kicking
like
around.
6 times by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Vice is still going, at least in Canada. It's still producing television.
Is it? That's
Well,
genuinely
Yeah, like
I'm
Who
genuinely
Killed
shocked.
WCW and a whole bunch of Dark Side of the 90s, Dark Side of the Ring.
Mhm.
Like those are all still in production.
Really? I genuine shocked me because, like Jonas said, I was sure there
Well-
was like the 7th shutdown happened like last month.
Marvin, that's not surprising because the Canadian government has literally been funding all sorts of media, paper. I mean, they're literally, the government has been handing out money left, right, and center. So that does not surprise me that they're able to survive here. And of course, they have to push the narrative that the government still wants, but that's a side comment. But I find this paragraph you highlighted here very interesting, that it says we want to control the strategy, the content, the product, sales, and outcome. That's a subtle dig, I would find, that they're saying that whatever these particular groups were saying was not something that they approved of at the end of the day, or was making them money, apparently.
Yeah,
Well,
I
if
wouldn't.
they were associated with Kotaku, they were definitely getting a lot of
right.
Well, and I don't know anything about Kotaku Australia versus Kotaku American, or American is probably the wrong word for. I don't think Alyssa Mercante.
Kotaku #1 best site, better than all. Duh.
I also saw there's also the fact that this is it sounds like it's a word like autocon, where it seems like they're trying to co-opt another phrase. I wouldn't put them in that area where they seem like they're actually fans of the things that they cover.
I would say maybe back in the day, if we dug, we'd probably find like the two guys who started the site were probably massive like video game fans, but as we know who works there now, they're not.
Well, and ultimately, as all these companies expanded, they needed talent, and that talent came from a limited pool. And the people who couldn't write at a real paper and couldn't write, intelligently about politics anywhere, they went to work at these outlets. And now I'm going to tell you, nobody wants to work for the 100%. Mainstream. And as you know, nobody wants to work for the mainstream now, Spencer. They all want to be on an independent, splashy site. Yeah, so it's wild. But I think there's some unique things that happened with a lot of these outlets that they've licensed. And they're ditching a lot of stuff. Did you know that Kotaku Australia also had a YouTube channel?
I did not.
I only learned it during this whole fiasco.
Yeah, they literally had
5 views.
Well, they but they had a lovely podcast. Come on, that guy and that girl really tried. And
nothing against the effort, but it's just showing there was nobody was watching.
Did they get a participation?
You gotta think at this point the brand name itself is just napalm. Like you just the name Kotaku, people hear it and they just instantly tune it out.
Yeah, and some people think it's just fusion food, and they make them think of tacos, just a weird taco.
Well, if it were tacos, then people would like it a lot more, I think.
Yeah, but it's like it's like a sewage taco, Jonas.
Mexican Iron Man, is that you?
I'm just saying. Anyway, like you said, and interestingly enough, did we get to the part where how many people are going to be outie?
Well, and we did see that it was 40 people, but those 40 people are also spread out across Gizmodo, Vice, other elements like this. Now, there is one thing about the Vice issue that I would bring up. Like National Geographic obviously had layoffs not that long ago, and that's National Geographic proper. However, those didn't affect the channel in any way because the channel continued to produce content. It was essentially a different organization. So I think that even if there was a Vice channel, I don't know that it necessarily is the same as Vice proper. Now
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Moving on here, this will have an impact on roles within the group, and I appreciate the uncertainty that this change creates. So we will be in contact immediately with those people where possible. We will look for opportunities for redeployment, and we'll continue to work with everyone over the coming days to support this difficult transition. That where possible, we'll look for opportunities for redeployment. That sounds like the kind of thing you say to keep people from going ahead and spilling their guts online immediately.
I'm not gonna lie though, Jonas, that is a very clear what do you want to call it? Like executive speak, business speak. Like we're not going to, give you a new job or fire you. We're gonna redeploy you. But I got to admit, something about it sounds really cool. Something about it sounds a lot better.
Well, I mean, that's a military statement. We're gonna redeploy you. You're gonna be the janitor.
You know what it is. You know what it is, culture, and you just like obviously it's a military thing, but I think with redeployment that gives you an inherent sense of purpose. You're being deployed. You're being given something. Like, yeah, okay, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's got to man the Alaska bases, right? So
that's right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move Kotaku Australia to Alaska. So have fun. No, honestly, but this is really funny because if you think about it, they basically bought all these licensees from Go Media to use some of their content and to obviously have their staff of their own to write their content. It goes to show you that, you know, Go Media can wreck everybody. It's not even their own company. Just if you license stuff from them, you're gonna fail. And you know, going back to their own stuff, I think, is a good strategy. I think that's ultimately what I think. Yeah.
And I think what Jonas and you touched upon, culture, is probably something that's really impacting it, which is we live in the internet age and Australia speaks the same language as us. Do we really need a specific central Australian only outlet? Like maybe you can have a front page aggregator site that reposts things in a timely manner, but for the most part, I can see them just going, go to IGN, go to Kotaku proper, yada yada yada.
Turn yourself into Bazinga, you know, whatever.
And now we have this picture here, obviously, of some of the staff who has been let go. Kotaku Australia managing editor David Smith confirmed the site was being shut down. He wrote on X, folks, I have some sad news to share. Today, the story of Kotaku Australia comes to a sad and abrupt end. It has been one of the greatest joys of my life to wake up every day and run a site I love with all my heart. Oh, well, that makes me feel bad for the guy. To all my comrades at Pedestrian Group. Oh, comrade, that might be too on the nose.
That's a bad word.
You. I have never worked with better or more talented souls in my life. To the readers, thank you for showing up every single day, even the whingers in the comments.
Should have read this in an Australian accent, but we'll let it fly this time.
Well, he's saying comrades. I was thinking we read it in Russian accent.
Yes, very good. Yes,
Well,
come back someday. We'll conquer it.
No, they said Australian accent, not a starving accent.
Sorry.
I have loved this job. We were the second highest read site in the group after PTV, and we still had so much we wanted to do. The plans I had were just getting started. Alas, I will be taking a break for a bit now, but know that it has been a pleasure and an honor, with a U, to serve you. That's
proper spelling, sir. Yeah. Proper spelling.
Kotaku has only ever served itself. That is it's a ridiculous statement.
Yep. Now let's. There's another one of their staff members here, and now, of course, any story about Kotaku is not complete without the blistering takes from the woman herself here. Kotaku senior editor Elisa Mercante lashes out after a Kotaku Australia shutdown. This also by John F. Trent. Look at that. Who wouldn't?
Why are you so obsessed with her, Jonas? She'll fight you unless you say that you'll fight her.
This might be the first time I've ever mentioned this name on a live stream. I'm not quite sure.
I would give you a different pronunciation for that name, but we're PG here, so I'll be.
You could probably get away with it if you say it fast enough.
No.
Oh, look at that smug face. Just so smug.
I feel like she just finished her Frost grant.
Yeah, she definitely has Frost vibes there.
Talk to him, Frost. She is like she is definitely like a different version of Frost. Like if Frost were a Pokemon, this is like the evolved form.
Oh, there's probably a good name that our
only a mother.
Oh well, come on. She is one of God's creatures. Everybody. Well, maybe not one of his creatures. Anyways, as reported by the Sydney Morning Herald, Pedestrian Group slashing 40 job. There she is again. There on the left. B&T also reported. Yep. Here we go. But where is she? Kotaku. Yep. We're getting to David Smith. Here we go. Mercante reacted to the news in a couple of threads posted to X. First, she wrote, sending solidarity and love to the amazing writers at Kotaku Australia and all other sites affected. You are all stars and deserved better. Oh my.
Now,
double
if she had
down on
just
the
ended it there, that would have been just a nice little thing to say, but she has to keep going. She can't
Has
help
to keep
herself.
going.
She has to,
Capitalism.
right, Marvin?
Capitalism is cruel.
Yeah, putting
really.
putting comrade in that other tweet. Now, while I thought we were making a little joke here, no, we're going to talk about the comrade's big brother. You know, the one that has raised the financial standings of every society that it has been introduced into. Capitalism, however, according to Elisa Mercante, is cruel. Your work remains always.
Does she know how her paycheck is cut to her? Does she have any sort of semblance of understanding economics whatsoever, or is this just not in her thought processes?
She's going to learn quickly, Space Dave. She is, because I'm telling you, those 8 million page views living in New York, that ain't going to work out well, because the amount of money you're getting for ads is going down. And so if you only have a view time around 3 minutes, there was a time a couple months ago they had a 1.5-minute view time. Like the average person that showed up like went through one story and bailed. They were like,
Wow.
no thanks. Yeah. So when I look at these things all the time, because I report on obviously the media things that are collapsing, and Geo Media is the platform that owns Kotaku and obviously was licensing it to Australia. And they have basically ditched 7 brands in the last 2 years.
Whoa.
Yeah. And
I mean,
what's
we
funny,
knew Kotaku was having problems anyway with the whole fiasco earlier this year, where they were going to switch to guides, and then everybody pooped their pants, and then they went no guides, and then some of those people lost their jobs anyway. So it's got to be. That's like my theory right now, is that, like, you guys, everybody out there, anybody watching this right now has to have seen Mercante's like behavior over the last couple weeks, right? Like, and I'm going to be very gracious, even though I have no reason to be. And I'm going to say not even the like interactions where people come at her first, but I mean, like, we all saw her for some reason, like, challenge Vera Dark to a fight and then back out of it. And then she's still going into Vera's like inbox to harass her. Like, this is the last, what do you call it? Like the death rattle, the death flailings of somebody who knows they're on the back foot. Like, we'll get into it, because Alyssa criticizes like independent YouTubers and reporters and stuff, but those are who people trust now because of you guys, because of Kotaku. So because of your own work, you guys are losing credibility, you're losing view space in people's minds, and yeah, you have no one to blame but yourself. So now you're just fighting for relevance by Mercante is literally becoming the thing she claims to hate, right? And like the actual straw man version of it, not the real version of it. She's becoming that straw man. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, there have been people that have theorized that that maybe she's got something going on mentally, or maybe I don't mean to put this on a person very specifically, but there are people out there who are very cognizant of the idea that demons existed at one point. And she is one of those people that comes up when you want to make the argument that someone might actually be possessed by a demon.
It's funny. I think Spencer hit the nail on the head when he talked about the death flail, because the flame of a candle spasms the most violently right before it blows out forever, and that's what's happening. I don't know if we get to 2025 with Kotaku still in existence. It's we've hit the point where I can't imagine what their traffic must be like. Nobody likes them anymore. I mean, this is the company that didn't they call Super Smash Brothers ableist or something like that, or like just a million different ridiculous
one of the easiest fighting games to learn how to play.
Yeah. No, they called the Smash Brothers controversy, just because I love bringing it up every time, was there is a song in the Persona 5 stage of Smash Brothers Ultimate that got released with Joker that plays the theme from Persona 5. And one of the lyrics is like, we're gonna get it started. And one of the reporters over at Kotaku played the stage and went, excuse me, are they saying we're gonna get retarded? What? This is ableist. Oh my God. And they like crapped out, and they like lost their minds. And Nintendo just fired back, and they were like, no. It's us, like, no. go away.
I just can I make
after that, didn't they stop getting their like review copies of games? Like they didn't get Breath of I think I remember they didn't get Breath of the Wild and they just flipped out about it.
That was one of them. That was one of the inciting incidents, was the Smash thing. But then when it came to Tears of the Kingdom, what happened was like a week or two before the game was out, it leaked. And Kotaku wrote an article about, guess what? You can go play Tears of the Kingdom right now for free with these exact tools going this exact way. And Nintendo went, are you stupid? Or like, what is wrong with you? So they said, no review codes to you. Like, we are not going to give review codes to you. And I love bringing that story up because one of their reporters, Luke Plunkett, in response to being put on Nintendo's blacklist, he posted a photo on Twitter of a World War II fighter ace with Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan like flags on the side, like a kill count. And he went, this is how I feel about publisher blacklist. And it's like, did you just imply anti-Japanese violence against the Japanese developer because they didn't give you a review code because of your own actions? Like, yes,
at Kotaku,
this is why people want you to
places.
shut down.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to say everyone stop talking here, but look at that sentiment there on screen. No, the internet and the rats infesting it. This is how she talks about her potential audience here. The internet and the rats infesting it are even crueler, but a reminder, cheering for good people losing their jobs while men get richer off their labor.
I have a comment on that
bankrupt.
At the end.
Please do. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, so let's go through basic economics 101. First of all, the people that invested into your company had the money to begin with. They were probably fairly wealthy to begin with. It's called investing. Investment is a thing you do with money that you have, and you want to use that money to have a return, right? So it doesn't have to be a big return. I get that, but it has to have a return. If you're not, you're losing that money. So if I put $10 into this show and I get $12 back, my investment has created a profit. And therefore, the people that I've hired, you guys would, of course, hey, I like this. This is working out good. Let's keep this going. But if I give you $10 and you lose me $20 because I keep pouring into it and you lose more and more and more money, well, sooner or later, I'm going to cut you off and say, no, all you do is lose me money and you're causing the money or the wealth that I've already generated to disappear. And that's a matter of fact. And that's what happened here is these guys came in, dumped millions and millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars into this, and the return was nothing. They lost all that money. And at the end of the day, whose fault is it? This lady making the comments right here. She was responsible for the ship, right? And so was the other guy for Australia. They were guiding the ship. What is the interest to the community? Right here, she's insulting the community that's supposed to make her money, right? To get that return. So she goes and blames the labor off. Well, your labor was costing them money. You didn't have a return. Everything you did was a net negative. So at the end of the day, morally bankrupt, you're trying to bankrupt an entire industry and you have no ifs, as, or like you have no, I don't even know the word for it, like common sense to say, maybe I'm the problem here. Maybe what I'm saying is the problem here. Maybe I'm turning
self-reflection. Yeah.
There's no self-reflection. It's always your fault, not my fault. These guys, they paid you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and employed people that, as I think Culture said at the beginning, probably shouldn't have had any income to begin with because they weren't good at what they did. It's just self-evident what they've done. They've destroyed the entire industry and they're blaming the guy that paid their paychecks. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And it's in fact, it's an entire generation of people that don't understand when you don't have a return on your product, at the end of the day, you're the one that's the problem. You know, you are the one that's the problem, not the person that paid your paycheck.
Well said.
Over yourself.
I also love the identifier she uses that while men get rich off the labor. It's not a single female executive in that company, not a single female has enriched herself based on the labor of others. Okay, good to know. Thanks. Thank you for that lesson in how the world works, Alyssa. By the way, she's that kind of person that like she'll block you and then she'll unblock you to snipe at you and then block you again. So when she blocked me, I blocked her back because Marvin the Movie Monster don't play that game.
Quote, put that on a shirt. Marvin.
That's actually a really good point here. As we're by the way, like the live stream, if you want to do us a favor, we are despite the effervescent talent that we have on screen, the channel as far as YouTube goes is still very fresh, and they have no idea who we are. But if you could hit that like button, it would be.
They will,
really
comrade. Helpful. They will.
That's right. In the name of Mother Russia, please hit that like button. Now, there is one thing that I want to point out here. Alyssa Mercante says, and by the way, I hate that I even have to say this, but let's stop the reactionary ride before it gains speed. And she does the most magnanimous thing that she could possibly do. She says, we are not affiliated with Kotaku Australia. We don't share anything except the love for games and good reporting. She says, no. Despite the name, Alyssa Mercante has nothing to do with Kotaku Australia.
Well, you know, that's a Frost statement right there, because remember when what was the name of the channel? Is it
X-Play?
G4? When G4 was laying everybody off in the midst of everybody losing their jobs, Frost puts out this tweet that's like, I'm still here, like celebrating the fact that she hadn't been fired when all these other people were. And like, that's exactly what Alyssa's doing right there. By the way, we're still here. Don't celebrate just yet.
It's so classy. But of course, maybe things are not so rosy over there at Kotaku. And in here we are on a website called Indeed.com, where you might find any kind of employment. Looks like Go Media is looking for a new editor-in-chief over there.
I'm surprised Alyssa's not the editor-in-chief.
Look at the star rating for this company.
You there, Marvin. I'm actually genuinely surprised she didn't get the job after what's her name quit.
Unless they just have to open it up like to external candidates first before they hire an internal candidate. That's
usually how
it
it goes.
Yeah.
But my God, if I know that I live in a world where that woman makes $125,000 to $180,000 a year, no.
Well,
you just have to think about where you're comparing it to. Yeah, 125 to 180 though, but you have to live in New York City in order to make that much money. Which in New York City dollars, that's essentially like $3.
That's what I'm saying, Jonas. Like, this doesn't make any sense. How do you make how do you pay somebody six figures? And you're shutting down branches and you're trying to convert the site away from what it's operating as. And you go, okay, cool. You want a six-figure job? This just feels like inflation run amok. Like this doesn't make any sense. This is two kids playing on the playground.
In this day and age, my question is always, why do you have to be in New York to begin with? If you're a complete online presence, correct? In this day and age, it's not necessary. You're just kind of wasting money as a company, hiring people and putting your head office in New York. No offense to New York. It is the financial capital of America. But at the end of the day, if you want to save money and you're not a bank, why are you in New York? Why is your head office? Why do you have to live there? It makes no economic sense to me.
It really doesn't. And if you are a company that is, instead of trying to chase headlines and trying to be the big deal and be in New York because it's quote unquote a big deal, set this thing in Wyoming and then just have remote workers wherever. Exactly. There's obviously a strategy for some of these companies. If I was in New York, I would be looking for somebody who doesn't want to go to New York, who is willing and able to do this job remotely, so that you can pay them half the amount of money and still be rocking their world from a financial standpoint. Now, my favorite thing about this right here is that Stuttering Craig over there from Side Scrollers has applied for this position. I don't, I think he has jokingly, but not joking. The best jokes are not jokes. And the best jokes are real.
Could you imagine he would just be like, all right, I'll come into the office once a week.
And he could still do a better job.
I don't even think Kotaku has offices. Like, he could just probably slack them.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think that when they axed the game guides situation, they would have just hired back the lady that quit over it. But I guess apparently they just wanted her gone. Because didn't the old editor-in-chief quit because of the game guides?
Yeah, she quit. They might have offered it back, and she said she probably saw the sinking ship. Honestly, she went, I don't want to do this, and they
maybe had another gig.
Like for all we like, all criticize, we can criticize Kotaku all day. I'll give credit where credit's due, and it's like, hey, at least that EIC stuck up for her principles, right? She was like, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want. And Kotaku said, oh, we're sorry. Do you want to come back? And she said, no, get out of my face. So something to be said for that.
It's a fair point. Now, the thing that if you had told me as a young man that there was a job where you could write game guides for a living, I would have been all over that. That probably would have ended all of my other prospects in life because
Jonas,
just go through screen by screen. I will hit A everywhere on this map.
Jonas,
I will find everything in this game.
I make this joke all the time where it's like, can you imagine? Like, I think about this all the time, going back in time to my 10-year-old self and going, hey, buddy, guess what? You do finally get paid to read comic books, to watch movies, to play video games, to write about video games, to write about all this stuff, to go online and talk to people. Star Wars is getting new stuff. Marvel has movies all the time. It's all happening. But guess what? It's all terrible. Like I think about that all the time.
It's such a monkey's paw situation.
Exactly.
You get what you want, but not what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my. Yeah, as I think about last night having to stay up late to talk about the Acolyte. Oh my goodness.
Poor man.
Yeah. All right, and
that was not easy to do.
You guys watched it, and then I had some stuff to take care of last night, so I watched it like late, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna stay up to watch it because maybe there's something to write about. And it was just so boring that I got mad. I was like, I cannot believe I stayed up like an extra 30-40 minutes to try and write something, and it was nothing. I hate you, Star Wars.
Time is the one thing you cannot get back, gentlemen. Just remember.
I feel like right now, I feel like right now we're balancing the universe because last night on the Acolyte after party, we started a game conversation, and now on that game place, we're starting an Acolyte conversation. We had a game conversation where we found our new character for that game place, Take Jonas.
Yeah, speaking of which, by the way, it's following me here this morning. R. Gentum says, never forget, Jonas gave the episode a 6.
Yeah, I'm never ever going to forget that. We should just put a 6 over your face.
I was translating that from a grading point average. I gave that episode a D. How about that? Does that which it definitely needed?
You were still entirely too kind to it.
You're like a modern day teacher that kind of grades on a bell curve here. You just got to stop that. Just give, if it's an F, it's an F. Just student can fail. Student failed. Sorry.
Fair enough. I think the last episode was definitely an F. I did rate The Marvels an incomplete, however, because that movie wasn't even enough to be an F. That being said, I'm sure that Take
Disney
Jonas
Channel
is
special.
follow me. Well, that is a thing. You have to judge it based on the merits of what it is. If I'm comparing it to Star Wars, it's a -8 million. If I'm comparing it to, I don't know what, Ahsoka, I'm probably right on the money, man.
I thought you're going to say garbage dump, but
I rated it a D. I did not rate it a 6. This is also why I tell Pro, don't do the number ratings because they're meaningless anyways.
Yeah, I always do like recommend it or don't recommend it.
Then, but what I do like to recommend though,
you know, they're coming to Fortnite, right? Like I just wanted to, while we're on the topic of Acolyte and Fortnite, like, you know, we're gonna get there. Like, we're gonna get Darth Smilo, we're gonna get May, we're gonna get OSHA. We'll probably get instead of Master Soul, who everybody wants, we'll probably get like Jackie. Like, just buckle up, everybody. Next season pass. I'm calling it right now. We got that really cool Magneto.
Do you really think Fortnite is gonna want it?
I don't think they do.
I mean, it's so grossly unpopular. It's about 75% of the audience.
I don't think they have a choice at this point. They probably signed a license with Lucasfilm. Like, hey, can we get Star Wars? Because we really want Darth Vader, Chewbacca, Stormtroopers. And then they went, yeah, you can. But could you also put in this other stuff? And they went, if we have, fine. I'll put in.
Back in May,
Rey.
they gave you all original trilogy stuff, which I thought was very
cool.
Out of left field. You know, you were getting Dagobah Luke, you were getting Lando, you were getting Chewie, you were getting Vader. Like, I couldn't believe they did all that.
But that's like the dessert before the main meal. I think they're just trying to sweeten you up, and then when
that's exactly
put the main meal out.
There was a deluge of like there was nothing coming out, so they were like, what do we do? Well, people like old stuff, right? We haven't touched that yet. Might as well use that for a skin. And now they have the new stuff, so they'll go, yeah, everybody get your OSHA skin. Everybody wants your OSHA skin. So cool.
You know,
or maybe they'll do the moms. Oh my gosh, put the lesbian space moms in. I would buy them in a heartbeat just to play as them.
What about the guy that self-deleted? How would you do his character? Would it be like an option? You hit a certain keystroke and he dies on the spot? Or?
You hit a keystroke and it closes out.
You talking about Jedi Master White Guilt?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Actually, let's talk about Fortnite here for just a little bit. I was playing the other day. First of all, Fortnite, obviously, Epic Games, they have probably about a $1.5 billion investment from the Walt Disney Company that either is scheduled to happen or has happened at this point. There's probably a little bit of regulatory that has to happen there. Sony also owns a similar amount of the company. Lego owns a similar amount of the company. Culture might be wondering where I'm going with all this because we didn't talk about this beforehand. But
Lego place.
Oh yeah. Well, sorry. I thought you were talking about the place within Fortnite where you play with Legos.
We can talk about that too. Metallica's there now. You guys can play as Lego Metallica.
Wow. That's very true. Last night I was playing the game and I was at the northeastern corner of the map. I had just crossed a bridge north of Restored Reels, and there's a gas station there. And as I crossed the bridge, I thought I saw a hooded figure, and then I got out of my car to go check out that hooded figure, and my son saw it too, and I was like, what in the world is going on here? Sure enough, I look, and whatever this person is, that's actually, I was not insane. There wasn't some person who ran in there and then ran out the window. There is actually something going on there where they're literally putting people on the map. I love stuff like this where they're not quite confirming it. But the real reason that we want to talk about Fortnite is I think that Epic right now probably has a better idea of how Disney can merchandise what's going on. I don't know who's familiar with the current system there. The current Battle Pass actually has, of all people, Magneto is in the system right now.
And that's pretty cool. He's like one of the best designs for him in a long time.
Yeah, and you have to, if you want the real Magneto, one that's a little bit more comic book accurate, you have to do a ridiculous amount of very specific quests, in my opinion, in order to get one of the best gliders that they've had in a very long time. Yes, right now I suppose that Fortnite is Jonas's favorite video game at the moment. I play it with my family, so there's a lot of family time dedicated to it. Another thing that is going on this season that indicates to me that Fortnite is maybe getting to do some things on their own as opposed to what Disney dictates here is there's a Pirates of the Caribbean premium pass that's going to be coming in probably in the next 7 days or so. And you'll get to play as Johnny Depp. You'll get to play as Jack Sparrow in the game. I don't know.
Unless you already can, because you downloaded it when they accidentally released it, right?
Right. Do you want to explain what happened with that, Marvin?
No, I that's all you. I just wanted to make a joke about it.
No, so they accidentally released it early, and then if you bought the premium pass, with the way the premium passes work, you get some kind of reward for even buying the pass. Like for instance, right now, if you go into the Lego Fortnite section, you can get the Chewbacca pass, which will immediately get you Chewbacca, and then if you earn the full pass, it'll give you like Mos Eisley Cantina and
it won't give me Acolyte Wookiee Jedi skin. That's what I want with the metal detector.
That might be the only Acolyte skin
that'll be the glider
I'd ever get.
That'll be the glider. Yes.
Oh man, that's beautiful. By the way, that's the thumbnail. Whenever that Park Place does the review of the Acolyte is for today is searching for a plot in the metal detector.
I had to stop myself. That first scene where they're like metal detecting, I was just like, what are we doing here? What is this? Like, all right, yeah, no, this is not Acolyte time.
All right, so
tell me you don't know about Star Wars by telling me you don't know about Star Wars.
Right. Now, I will say they are pushing for things that are a little bit cooler and a little bit more off the beaten path right here. I don't know if you're aware of this one, Spencer, but Weapon X was added to the item shop for a while. Yeah. I always love the first reaction. My daughter had no idea what Weapon X was, and it blew her mind. She's like, "Is this a superhero?" Like, it's a superhero, but this is not something he wore on purpose.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question: is how risque did they let him get?
I don't think they went
he's wearing
Jackman here. Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He
he's
is wearing the
pants.
shorts. There is at
He's
least
got, okay,
that.
perfect.
Well, I mean,
And,
look, when you watch X-Men Origins Wolverine, the Weapon X procedure was like a same-day procedure. Like he just went in, it took about
an
2
inpatient
hours,
or
and
an
then he
outpatient
left.
one. Yeah, like
Yeah.
like getting a filling.
And if I can also add, they also know where their bread is buttered. By the way, this is the season before I started playing Fortnite here that Deadpool was added in. But it looks like here is the actors of Deadpool and Wolverine are currently on a press tour for the new movie, and it looks like they are also meeting with Fortnite content creators, as seen in this image. Could we be getting a new Fortnite X Deadpool collab soon? And right there in the back. That is Deadpool right there.
That's a Deadpool.
You can't buy him in the game. You had to have gotten him as the secret skin in whatever season it was. Silly me, I joined in, and all they had was the Jason Momoa secret skin as Aquaman.
Oh man, did you get his Fast X character as the secret skin? Come on, it's so cool, dude.
I have an observation, and culture back me up here because we're both as old as dirt, right? So we can agree on that. I've noticed there's a pattern of companies that will dogpile on an IP, and that's usually the death knell of that IP. Because once everybody and their cat wants to do it, it becomes very uncool, like 2 or 3 years later, and then it drops off and something new comes on. Now, is that a correct observation from past companies, would you say, culture?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're spot on.
So that's my worry here, is that this is all cool, but kids are like, oh, too many people are interested in what is mine, and now we're going to step away and find something new. And it's happened over and over.
Yeah,
and over again.
you lose the hipster crowd at that point, the ones that just want to be involved in something that's not super mainstream. It's like I said to Jonas just the other day that like once the media picks up on a meme or any kind of trend,
it's over.
Like, the death of Pokemon Go was when Hillary Clinton said Pokemon Go to the polls. That was when I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Well,
I almost burned all of my Pokemon merchandise. I was like, I'm done here. We're done.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point is go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, please.
Culture, go ahead.
I wasn't talking.
Yeah. No, I was just going to add to that because you guys are exactly right. I mean, when it becomes mainstream and then it gets adapted, it is no longer cool. This is the problem. These are the people back in their 20s used to understand counterculture because they were part of it. And now that they're, 50, 60, 70 years old, they don't get it anymore.
Yeah, it's the same with a lot of franchises that, were quiet hits, so to speak, and then everybody and their cat thought it was great. And then you kind of lose that luster. Well, I found this first and now you want it, so I step away from that.
And the premise of a video I'm going to do is things we did not ask for, right? We didn't ask for Time Bandits. We didn't ask for Gladiator 2. There are several video games that we're going to get that we didn't ask for. There's a lot of that happening right now. And I have to tell you, these companies are stepping into these problems willingly, not realizing that if you can't muster demand, if there is no demand, don't do it. And this is going to be very true when it comes to this. And here's the other thing I want to say, despite Jonas's love for Fortnite, there will come a time in the near future when Fortnite dies.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Happened to WoW,
They're already working on whatever the next step is there, though.
Yeah.
Once Bob Iger announced his intention to get involved with Epic Games,
that's what I was going to say.
End of
Marvin.
Epic Game. That was
I heard the Undertaker's bell ring for the death knell. Right, it was done and over.
When
WWE
WWE makes it onto Fortnite.
Yeah.
Oh,
they'll be next.
That happened already. Yeah. I see John Cena's running around all the time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
John
right.
was there. That's right.
That happened a long time ago. Bianca Belair and John Cena were on there. Though I will say, culture, I watched I have a Gladiator 2 trailer reaction coming out later today. I actually didn't think it looked bad. I'm of who asked for this, but I didn't think it looked bad.
I don't mind when a company wants to expand the universe that was once, our precious thing or whatever, whether it be Aliens or Transformers. If you're going to expand that IP, no problem. But if you're going to remake what was already a classic, that's where, you're treading on dangerous ground. Again, like Culture said, I didn't ask for that. I like the original the way it was. Don't taint the original and think you can do it better, because you can't. I don't think I've ever seen a remake in the last 30 years that was better than the original. And that's my opinion, of course. You might think it is, but in my opinion, it's now I've seen some good IPs get expanded, and that's great. I love expanded universe IP. Grow it. Tell me more. I want to know more. But don't take the original and think you can do better, because normally you can't.
I do have something that I think
you
everyone
can catch
here
a fistful of dollars this summer in theaters.
I do have something here that I think everyone is going to love, because no one has any takes in the negative about this, but the Tesla Cybertruck is reportedly going to be coming to Fortnite.
I saw one of those at the beach, and I was like, "What the heck is that thing?"
It's rusting.
Once it gets the first Cybertruck that gets like rolled out in Fortnite will be the first Cybertruck that actually works. I'm very proud of Tesla for this step.
Shots fired.
It looks
and
like
the windows will be bulletproof.
It looks like a car that would be driven in like South Park in Canada.
Yeah. I'll take that. Yeah, exactly.
No. It also looks like if it was like a 1980, like early 80s sci-fi movie, and this is what all the troops like. This is like the APC. This is what they moved all the really dirty cops in or whatever to the main fight.
I love it. Now I will add just here, because I probably will be tempted here to get Barbosa or Davy Jones.
Oh, yeah.
I love Davy Jones.
Davy Jones is so cool.
Here's my one thing with Fortnite is, like, I would love to have Davy Jones, but like Davy Jones running around like packing heat and like shooting, like, to me that just doesn't make sense. Like, I really only buy the ones that like I can kind of make sense out of the weapons. Like, I have a Boba Fett skin that I use most of the time.
Look, Marvin, I'm normally on your side, but I had to buy Goku, and Goku running around with a shotgun might be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
No, I mean, look, if they did Dragon Ball and My Hero Academia again, I'd be all over it. So I can be a hypocrite a little bit in that.
It is interesting, the character they put up in center. Like, she's not even a bad guy.
That's 100% willful, my friend. And
1,000%. You know why they did that?
The Pirate King.
What they ought to do is if they can do an emote for Davy Jones, they absolutely have to do that monologue. Just make the emote the entire thing of doing that low Scottish brogue. You know, life is cruel. Why should the afterlife be any different? You know that.
Oh, I thought you were going to do that. You best be believing in ghosts.
Do you feel death? Oh, that would be a great one. I mean, the closest you get is the Mandalorian skin of him going, "This is the way." It's like a hologram.
This is the way.
Also, they do a decent job with the Star Wars stuff if they're not trying to push the sequel trilogy too much over there.
Well, that's one of the great things about Fortnite and Epic that I got to give to them is, like, when they get a license for an IP, they will treat it way better than like anybody has treated that IP in a long time. All the DC stuff has been like really, really impressive. That Magneto skin, that's an original design, and he looks fantastic. All the Star Wars stuff, we don't get, Dagobah Luke. When was the last time we got any merch of him? Here's a skin for him. So that's one thing I will give them, is they get it and they go, we're going to respect the, like, whoever wants to buy that. Whoever, like, people are going to want to buy it, so let's make it good. Let's not crap on Luke because it's Luke, right? Get out of here, Disney. This is our design room. Go away. Okay, you gave us your money, I guess. Okay, now we'll replace him with Ray. Okay.
This is
let me know when they do a Batman 66 pack for Fortnite. I want to run it's the Burgess Meredith Penguin.
Do the Robin too, everything.
Yes.
Well, there's a good case to be made to do that. See, this is the other thing about Epic being owned by several different companies. When Sony said they were going to buy Paramount, I was actually thinking about all the skins that they could do based off of Paramount properties. I also like that it's multiple large studios that have some control over this, so that means that everyone can play nicely, instead of it being like, well, Disney owns this, so therefore we're never going to see a DC skin. But instead, when you see them in the game, it doesn't have to be the MCU version or the cringy DCEU. There's only one DCEU skin that I think that I've seen.
And that's
Jonas, didn't they just do a Paramount skins? What they did, they just did Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I bought Zuko.
That's true. They did a whole premiere pass based around Avatar. And then my kids got into Rugrats after it was gone.
Want to run around as Chucky Finster?
Yeah, blow people away as Tommy Pickles.
No, it'd be awesome to see the Looney Tunes in there. Yeah, like you know,
That would
Mickey
be
Mouse,
nice,
the
but
Looney Tunes.
Dude,
Warner Brothers is too
Yeah, that'd
busy
be great.
making mobile games. They don't care.
But some of those things would be amazing. Space Dave hit on something magic. I think. Can you imagine like the coyote, like using his Acme box as his emote?
It would be great.
It'd
One
be
of the
so
gliders
good.
could be the like
Yeah.
Acme rocket, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
have to go any faster, but it could be there and it could look like it.
This is what I love about Fortnite is all of this is cosmetic. You don't have to buy any of it,
Right.
but it's fun to do it, to add a little
Yeah.
personal flair to it. I got too many skins because I could write them off as a business expense because of previous clients here. But I have loved this conversation. Go ahead.
Tell me how I do this.
Yeah,
Please.
I just have one quick interjection I want to give. It's slightly related, slightly off topic, but when you brought up all the studios are playing nice and there's no mandates or whatever over who gets what share. I don't know if anybody here remembers, but it always sticks out in my mind. But Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, when they made the most recent Marvel vs. Capcom game and they took out, first of all, there were no X-Men because that was the whole no X-Men because Fox period. But then there was a mandate from Marvel to Capcom that said, if you make this game in all of our cutscenes, except for Ultron, who is the very big bad, none of our Marvel characters can lose. They always have to come out on top. They can never be shown at a disadvantage. So you can see it in all the cutscenes and all the story moments. You're like, that doesn't make sense. Why did Captain Marvel just get to fly in and take that win from Ryu? Why did Black Panther storm in and take that cool shot from Spencer? It's so bizarre, but that's all it reminds me of. Anyway, Disney, that's all it is. That's the criticism. Disney.
It's like having The Rock in your game and The Rock can't lose. Which is why all of the fights that The Rock is in Fast and the Furious get interrupted by like ridiculous things, like other people or literal earthquakes.
Oh, right. Isn't that in his contract that he can't lose a fight in certain movies? Like,
yeah, and there has to be an equal number of hits. It's so dumb.
Oh my god.
And this is why The Rock is.
It was pretty apparent in Black Adam, I think, too. That was how it was going down. So,
well, headline that somebody actually watched Black Adam.
I did.
I'm joking around.
If I pick the Black Adam skin in Fortnite, do I win every time?
Do
I automatically get the battle royale or the victory royale?
Nobody dies in Fortnite. You just get derezzed or something like that. Now, we could
do
go
like
to
a
negative
Thanos.
Story.
Jonas, didn't they do a Thanos where, like, when you gathered all the stones, you could snap your fingers and half of the players all disappeared?
That would be amazing. I do know that the Infinity Gauntlet was in the game, and it was one of their first big collabs. I have the Thanos skin, and the hitbox on that guy is huge, so I never use it. Mostly
instant disadvantage. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
This is why it's funny. It's better to use the Captain Marvel skin than it is to use the Venom skin, just because of the hitboxes.
You got us, Marvel. You got us.
Yep. Now, I was going to go to a negative story after this because I was trying to pad out here, so we're not just talking about some of the bane of our existence as gamers. But let's go over to the greatest video game development company that has ever existed. Anyone want to venture a guess at who I'm talking about?
BioWare.
Nintendo. That's right. You're singing my language there, Culture. It's for breakfast now. It's a cereal. Right. Wow. Nintendo president addresses whether company will use generative AI technology to create games. I'm going to answer this for you guys right now. This is an article from John Trent. The answer is yes and no.
And no.
Yeah, answering in a typical Japanese way. Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa recently addressed whether the company would use generative AI technology to create games. Here he is right here, dressed up as Mario, and over here is Nobuo Uematsu, the composer for the Final Fantasy games. If you are unfamiliar with generative AI, Google explains on their website that generative AI can also help us create new content. Generative AI builds on using existing technologies like large language learning models, which are trained on large amounts of text to predict the next word in a sentence. For example, peanut butter and blank is more likely to be followed by jelly than shoelace.
I thought you would have
description of how AI works. That's not what AI is, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think banana. Peanut butter and banana.
Chocolate.
See,
we reject
peanut butter and banana.
Have we found a new Turing test? Examples of companies include, well, all of those. As reported and translated by Tweaktown, what a wonderful name that is, Furukawa took part in a Q&A with investors and was asked about generative AI. He answered, in the game industry, AI-like technology has been used to control enemy character movements, so game development and AI technology have always been closely related. Next, he specifically addressed generative AI. Generative AI, which has been a hot topic in recent years, can be more creative, but we also recognize that it has issues with intellectual property rights. There's hitting the nail on the head. From there, he detailed, we have decades of know-how in creating optimal gaming experiences for our customers, and while we remain flexible in responding, that sounds like it's about to be a no, by the way, to technological developments, we hope to continue to deliver value that is unique to us and cannot be achieved through technology alone. And this is why I love Nintendo. Anybody have any reactions to that before we continue on?
I don't have a before we get into reactions, I just want to make a note. John cited somebody on Twitter who translated that. There is a full official translation of that answer that is slightly different with slightly different wording on Nintendo's official investors relations website, if anybody wants to check that out. But the gist of it is the same. That's all I pretty much wanted to note.
I can always count on you for the advocating for the clearest possible translation, Spencer.
We all got to work on our best information. Yeah.
My thoughts right away are, and AI is the word is thrown around, and I think misused and abused a bit nowadays. So especially where, like, he is right when he says that games have always used AI, like artificial intelligence, whether it be for pathfinding and reaction to players and stuff, and that's where you get the comments, hey, the NPC is pretty dumb, right? He doesn't react properly or naturally or whatever. But that's just technology. That's not true AI, though. That's just programming, pathfinding, and so it's kind of blurring the lines between what this question is and what he's referring to. There's quite a chasm gap, I would say, between the two. And regenerative AI makes me nervous because I think it's going down, I think, a path that really takes the creativity out of the hands of artists and programmers and stuff. Like you're taking level designers' jobs away and all. It's inevitable. But, and at the end of the day, it takes creativity. And AI at the end of the day is not actually creative. It will just take something that has already been created and make something new or twist it around or whatever. So there's no true creativity, in my opinion, from it. But the path this is going down is, I think,
AI.
Yeah, I think we're going to hit a brick wall one of these days where we're realizing we're just recycling a lot of stuff, and there's no true creativity from anyone anymore because their jobs are lost to this kind of thing. So
I would argue,
makes me
Dave,
nervous,
we were already
personally.
having that problem without the AI.
Yeah, Dave. I was going to go with Marvin there.
Yeah, it was sinking its teeth into the industries, many different industries, for quite a while. I agree with that. Yeah.
Well, if you describe. Go ahead, Marvin.
I was going to say, when you look at just storytelling in general, I mean, everything pretty much pulls from, ancient sources. Superman was the basically a retelling of the Moses story from the Bible. And then, a lot of things are based on, Norse or Greek mythology. There's just been a lot of retelling over and over and over throughout the centuries.
I totally agree with that. Other than Superman is obviously a Jesus allegory, Marvin. How dare you?
Oh yeah, because Zack Snyder understands so much better.
Did you not see him in front of the sun?
Yeah, no, I caught the subtlety of like the 3 crosses behind him after he died in Batman versus Superman. What are you trying to tell me here, Zach?
Did you get the giant stained glass window behind him when he was in the church? I don't know if you caught it. Very subtle.
No. You know what? I think on like a 4th viewing, I might have caught it out of the corner of my eye. Yeah. I'm sure Siegel and Schuster are thrilled in their graves.
Exactly. Well, that is one thing, that you can use something as the basis for your story and then move on from there and create something not greater, but something more unique to the person telling the story. The thing that I see here is when you take someone else's work and you just change it just enough so that it technically is something different. Sometimes you can get some really cool things like that. Like there is a Hotel Transylvania game that is aping off of Pikmin. It's so strange to describe that out. It's also horrible. Yeah. There really
is. The first time I've ever heard of a Pikmin clone. That
exactly.
Hotel Transylvania.
And that is the only reason that game is interesting, honestly, because for the most part, movie tie-in games can die in a fire for all I care. Sometimes they're fun if it's a shooter and you're not reinventing the wheel. Okay, fine, sure.
Or if it's a game that they were making before and then they went, oh, just slap the movie label on it. That way, like, we can sell it. The Wolverine Origins game is probably the best example of that.
Yes, that's I love that one. And I think Mark Hamill does the voice of Wolverine in that one.
He does. He does a decent job in that one.
Yeah. Now, we should do a retro review of that. By the way, I believe Space Dave will have the first retro review on this channel very soon. I want to point that out.
Awesome. So, by the way, I will say, like, taking somebody else's work and changing it just enough to make it something that's technically new. I think that there's actually a need for that in modern storytelling, because like I'm dying for somebody other than Zack Snyder to like take Star Wars and like make like a new Star Wars that's not Star Wars, but just like tell the stories that like we want to tell, that something that's not that horrible Netflix film series that he's working on.
I agree to a point, but then having the conscious awareness of what you're doing with that kind of makes it beyond plagiarism. It's just, you've tainted, again, going back to my conversation earlier, you're tainting what was the original, right? And that's no fault of, like, George Lucas, he has his faults, but the first three are masterpieces at the end of the day. Well,
at the end of the day, George is not getting any money from these properties anymore, and the people that currently have them are doing horrible things with them. So I think like the fans of the franchise want something that's like Star Wars, but not Star Wars right now.
I don't disagree with that, but that would take like an Elon Musk coming in or a multi-billionaire coming in that cares about that. I would rather them come in, buy it off of Disney, who's basically lost money, and then recreate it in a proper image. But then again, you're still going to get his version of it, right? You'll never satisfy everybody. Sure. There's always fans that
essentially Marvin wants 50 Shades of Grey, while Space Dave is a Twilight.
Didn't we get that with the Acolyte? I mean,
well, now here's the thing. Obviously, I mean, I'm not going to make a point about 50 Shades of Grey, but the idea here is that AI, with no discernment, with no taste, literally no taste whatsoever, can only rank order things based on popularity and then say, well, we're going to use a little bit of this, we're going to use a little bit of that. It essentially, if you have a person who is only taking directives, you can either you can be very kind and call them a craftsman, or you can call them what we often call them, which is a hack. And in that, generative AI is the ultimate hack if it's left to its own devices. The thing that I appreciate about Nintendo, and while everyone is out here, by the way, Joshua Hammond, fair point. How far are you on Mass Effect Trilogy playthrough so far? I still don't have a Windows machine, so I have that in my Steam for whenever I get to it. The trilogy, the Legendary Collection. I've played Mass Effect in the past. I will never get away from this game. It will haunt me for the rest of my online day.
I think I might start a new playthrough once, because my fiance and I are replaying Kingdom Hearts right now, going through that whole series, and I think that might be Mass Effect for me.
See, Kingdom Hearts, I'm ready to play that one. I have my PS5 and I have the whole collection. So I could do that, no problem.
Out there in the viewers, let us know what you want us to stream first. Do you want Marvin to do Mass Effect? Do you want Jonas to do Kingdom Hearts? Do you want Jonas to do Fortnite? Let us know.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
That's a fair question.
Well, I mean, Jonas and I have been called out by the guys over at Flora from Under a Rock, who, by the way, is celebrating 2,000 subscribers tonight. So big congratulations to them. Yeah. But they have talked a whole lot of garbage about Jonas and I in Fortnite, and we might have to go there and set things right.
It's a fair point.
Head to head.
The thing that I want to bring up is, like, Nintendo, they'll do these Mario games, which, they could have AI generate Mario games and just hit spam and repeat over and over again.
That's what they do now.
Having played a lot, the credit that I'm going to pay Nintendo here is that there's actually innovation in each one of those levels. They could just do, here's another sand level, here's another this, here's another that. Having played through Super Mario U Deluxe or whatever the Wii U one was, and then re-released on Nintendo Switch because I have kids and they want to play. And if you ever want to punish yourself, please play 4-player Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. It is one of the most painful experiences in gameplay you could ever have in your life.
Jonas, you ever wonder if Super Mario Maker was just their excuse to like get other people to do the work for them, and then like look at the work that they do and get ideas?
I think you're right, and you're absolutely right, and it's a hilarious point to me. But I think it gave them permission to make these levels a lot harder. Like if you play Super Mario Brothers Wonder, there'll be one way that you can play the level, and then if you hit the Wonder Seed, it can make it into a much harder way to play that level.
I love Wonder. So good.
They deal with the skills gap here between young players and older, more experienced players by basically letting you scale the difficulty to your own preference. This is another thing that I love about the design over there at Nintendo. And I will gush about Nintendo. If there is such thing as a pixie duster for Nintendo, I am that.
Oh, you're setting yourself up now. Oh,
yep.
You're an unapologetic promoter of Nintendo.
Except for the tennis games. I hate those so much. So
Jonas, when you go,
those ones.
when Pro finally lets you go to sleep at night, do you play Zelda's music in the background or Mario music in the background? Then you go to sleep
no, it's just on repeat in my head. And I do remember one summer when Majora's Mask haunted my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So
here's a Nintendo question for you. You hate the tennis games, but does anyone remember for the Wii Mario Baseball?
Sluggers, yeah.
I loved Mario. I've been waiting for a new Mario Baseball for like a decade.
I unironically like every single Mario sports title. Golf, strikers, hoops, like they're all fantastic. I have bought maybe 2 real sports games in my life because like I still do enjoy sports. I bought like one Madden game a while ago and one MLB game, and they're fine. But like throw the Mario in there and get all the cool powers and everything, and now we're talking.
Right, it's an excuse to expand it in a way that
yes.
If you want to play Madden, you will basically play in a way that tries very hard to match the rules of football.
Yes.
And they'll iterate on certain things, but at the same time, you really have to stick to the rules of football if you're going to do Madden. Whereas
otherwise, it's going to be like the Nickelodeon broadcasts that they do every year.
Right.
All the players get like slimed.
There's a reason that games like Mario Kart are able to do what they do. And if you add a 3D element, a multiplanal element like they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or Mario Kart 8, I should say, that you're able to do that. Sorry, I will continue to gush about the games that I enjoy forever. But is there anything out in the audience? I'm going to ask you, for the next thing that we cover, should we cover a canceled television show of a video game that has yet to see the light of day, canceled in development? Should we talk about an upcoming remaster that appears to have race swapped? Or should we talk about, I'm going to give 4 options. Layoffs at a major developer, or should we be talking about everyone's favorite subject, Sweet Baby Inc.?
Oh, boy.
So options are
let us know.
A race swap, layoffs, or the scrapping of a video game based show.
While you guys vote, I will pose this to everybody here on the panel. Do you guys, on the subject of Mario sports games, did any of you guys ever play the Mario 3-on-3 on the Nintendo DS, the basketball game?
I didn't play that on the DS, but I did play it on the GameCube.
There was the GameCube one, but the DS one I remember specifically because they had Final Fantasy guest characters. So you could like dunk as and they were all from Final Fantasy 1. So it was like red mage, white mage, black mage, fighter, and you could dunk with them and you could shoot fireballs with them. And I remember being like, this is sports. Get Kobe out of here. This is what we need at the Olympics. I was also probably like
out of
14.
here.
Yeah, I think the last time I dedicated any amount of time to a non-Nintendo sports game, it was NFL Street.
Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Wait, do we consider bowling like an actual sport? Because I did that quite a bit lately. So.
Oh,
that counts. Who do you think you are? I am. That is completely valid.
Yeah, my daughter was like nonstop playing the basketball on that, like nonstop. I would wake up and she was playing. I would go to bed, she's playing. I was like, my goodness, and she was getting good, at the hook shot there. I was like, wow. But I kept telling her 3-pointers.
And now you got
3 pointers.
And now you got to sit her down and be like, I have to tell you about the WNBA.
Yeah, exactly. The money making machine that it is.
Yeah, exactly.
The last non Mario sports game that I played was probably, what was the NBA game where they would go, he's on fire? It was
that would be NBA Jam.
Yeah,
NBA Jam.
Classic.
That was it. Yeah, that was one I played.
From downtown.
Yes,
on
that was
fire.
Shakalaka.
Yep, he's on fire.
Boom shakalaka.
I had a summer where there was an arcade exhibit that went through my town and went to the museum that was down the street from my house, and I think the museum felt really bad about how much money they made setting those things, like actually having people buy tokens, so they set it to free for anybody who had an admission. Well, we had a membership to the museum, and so I beat every single team in the NBA on NBA Jam back in the day.
Just going in every.
But Daddy, we want to go to the pool. No, we're going back to the museum, kid. Back to the museum. It's history.
I haven't played as the Jazz yet.
That's right. Daddy needs another turn at Star Wars.
Yes.
Oh, that was a great.
Do you remember the first arcade game that you like arcade game cabinet in an arcade that you actually beat
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
in time?
I think the
It depends on how old you are, because some of the like old cabinet games didn't have a finish, right? There was no ending like Pac-Man. You could
For me, it was
play it to
it was either
Yeah.
X-Men, like the Pride of the X-Men one, or it was The Simpsons.
Oh, those are all
Yeah,
fantastic.
I never got to
four-player
the
ones.
end of The Simpsons, but I did get to the end of
Oh,
X-Men.
it's so good.
I
didn't realize that the guy that steals Maggie was Smithers until like I got to the end and the final boss was Mr. Burns.
I'm gonna be really old here and say Dragon's Lair.
I never
Culture.
beat Dragon's Lair.
This is why
It's so
we're
pretty,
friends,
though.
culture.
That's,
And the
that's
best
a quarter
way-
eater.
The best way to learn Dragon's Lair is in the situation that I just described to you. At the time I could beat that entire game without looking at the screen. Like, I mean, it was
Timing.
all of it.
You know
all
what's
of it.
fascinating about that game too is that it took a long time for
Da-da-da.
it to release, and like in the quality it was in the arcade, right? Like it took a couple of generations before somebody remade it and made it proper, like the way it was in the arcade. Because there was all these terrible side-scrolling versions that were nothing like that game.
Yeah, but and a lot of that was because it was optically based. A lot of people don't realize the
Yeah, the
technology in
Laserdisc.
that cabinet was completely different than any other cabinet. So.
And
that learning that just blew my mind. But then learning how simple it actually was, and it wasn't a true game, kind of, as you
It's a
get older,
movie.
you're like, well, that's kind of disappointing, but it was still
It's like,
cool.
it's like a magician, like sleight of hand.
Yeah,
Like, look
it
over
was-
there.
Absolutely, but it's smart, they and I'm surprised more gaming studios didn't take that technology and use it and trick a lot of us kids at the time and say, hey, look at the sleight of hand again, and waste some quarters on that thing. So
well,
good
they
point,
essentially
Culture.
did, because it is a quick time event just extended out. Like for how much trouble we give like quick time events, which have been so overused since Resident Evil 4 really pushed them back in the day. Essentially, Dragon's Lair is a giant QuickTime event, and if you could get to the final levels of Dragon's Lair, I mean, it was about as epic as you could get in the 80s and the 90s.
You had some clout if you could do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And Princess Daphne waiting there for you, and there was the fact that you actually had to get all the way to the end of the game and still dying all along the way in order to get there. That thing sucked out so many quarters.
And Culture, didn't it have like a fake ending, like fake you out ending to it too, like at some point, and then you had to keep going, correct?
There was a couple of times during the course of playing the game, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jonas, where you were like, "Oh, I just won." Oh no, I'm not done.
Nope.
Yeah.
and then you would be turned into a skeleton yet again. So I've looked in the chat, and yes, by the way, you beat The Simpsons. You could beat any game if you had enough money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you just had to show up with a lot of friends and a lot of money, and you could beat anything.
Take your
That's
brother's paper route money and just keep shoving it in the machine like I did. So
Listen, I have to do this.
Now,
Someday
as
you'll understand.
As you might have guessed, the game that we're talking about is not quite the system seller that Sony would hope it to be. But a rumor says that Netflix has scrapped the Horizon Zero Dawn adaptation. This story by John F. Trent. There she is. There's Aloy or Eloy or whatever her name is. There, the tech lady with the weird earpiece. A new rumor claims that Netflix scrapped its planned adaptation of Horizon Zero Dawn by Umbrella Academy showrunner Steve Blackman. Guys, anybody Umbrella Academy fans here?
I watched the first season and it was mind-numbing.
Yeah,
I thought Steve Blackman was a martial artist from the WWE, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman, the most dangerous man alive.
I'm sorry to do that.
Well, probably a different Steve Blackman, though.
I think we have a tendency to dip into wrestling talk here, but I'll say this: Umbrella Academy was terrible, especially when we got into season 2. And I dipped out in season 2 because I'm like, I am not gonna try to watch this ever again.
Yeah, I watched maybe like the first couple episodes of season 1, and I was like, oh, I'll go read the comics. This is fine, whatever.
Hey,
go have fun, Netflix.
It was one of the last things that a certain page boy was in before they became page boy.
That's true.
They wrote that into the show though, in whatever the last.
Did they actually write it in? Because I knew I knew that was requested, and I wasn't sure if it was honored.
It was honored, and some quotes from Steve Blackman that maybe shouldn't have seen the light of the day did see the light of the day. We cannot quote them on this PG show, but he was. Let's just say he was expressing some difficulty and consternation at the idea that he needed to transition one of his characters.
Reshoot everything, yeah.
So he was against that change. Is that what we're saying here?
Not initially.
Well, I don't want to put it on him that he was against it, but I think he saw the difficulty of it and the fact that he took a show which essentially had no particular agenda to it, and now it's definitely going to be an agenda show. Yeah. So it's also reported that his original project Orbital has also been shut down. The rumor comes from Rolling Stone senior reporter Cheyenne Roundtree. Roundtree posted on X, Rolling Stone has learned that 2 of Umbrella Academy showrunner Steve Blackman's projects that were in development at Netflix, a Horizon Zero Dawn series and an original series called Orbital, are no longer moving forward. Just because this is a Sony game, by the way. Has anybody here played Horizon Zero Dawn?
No,
I have the first one.
I played the first one for a little while and then got annoyed. So
I'm finding my tastes are actually pretty similar to Culture's here. I started playing it, realizing that it probably is a game that isn't actually aided by having better graphics. This is another thing that drives me nuts, is when the game centers on graphics and the graphics don't affect it in any way.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's a ghost train ride of a game where you sit there and, oh, look, big set piece, and then you keep sitting there for a second. Big set piece, roll credits. Like that's what those games are.
Yeah, and the fact that she's a special girl who beats everyone and all this, I'm like, not that you can't do this.
I know you guys haven't even played like the second one yet, but just for everybody out there, we all know Aloy. Jonas is right. Aloy is very much portrayed as like that. Oh, you are the special savior of the world. Like you are the last remaining child, which is okay. Fine. We've seen that story before. But in this story, we have her recognizing like you are the last like person, the only genetic person who can save the world. And she's in the story going, I don't need your help. I can do this all on my own. No, I don't want any friends. I don't want any allies. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why are you trying to be tough when you want to save the world? But my bigger frustration is in the second game, she essentially meets the people who turn the world into the wasteland it is. And surprise, it's a very, very thin, like, anti-capitalism swing where the 4 people who left Earth were all rich white billionaires, and the main guy who still wants to leave the humans to their fate is basically Jeff Bezos. But don't worry, Carrie Ann Moss plays one of the evil white people, but she's not all that bad. So she ends up helping Aloy. And it's cool because Carrie Ann Moss's character is also a lesbian. And so is Aloy's character. So all the lesbians get to save the day because they're just the best by default and don't need help by anybody whatsoever. And they can just fight the evil white man.
It sounds like real life.
I am not even making this up. Everybody out there on this panel and even in the chat, like if you've seen me or read my stuff, you know I don't go into hyperbole that often. This is not hyperbole. This is what the game does in the second entry. It is on its pants, like head on pants dumb. So I'm glad this thing got canned. Otherwise, you were going to get She-Hulk with bow and arrows. That's what you were going to get.
I just have to ask.
Echo, you're going to get Echo too.
I have to ask. First of all, Aloy, obviously LGBT. Is Sweet Baby involved in this game?
I actually don't know off the top of my head. I'll go check the website, but I want to say probably.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something like that. Want to hear something weird? I'm not sure if John's done a story on it. And Spencer probably will now write a story on this. But I guessed IMDb accidentally leaked all of Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement in games not that long ago.
So I did look into that last night. The problem with that story is that IMDb is completely editable by anybody, so we have no verification where that came up. We have all those games are also like years out. So for now, that could be somebody just going in and going, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it. I would, for all of us out there, I would rely on Cabrutus's site, DEI Detected, for official like records of whether a game has them attached.
That's a very good point. Now, I will also, of course, note that our frequent collaborator, Lou Wasserman's Ghost, is also listed on IMDb as Lou Wasserman himself, which is
he's reappeared.
Yes. So that creates some issues.
It ends up listing That Park Place shows and WDW Pro shows and like the genre guys on Lou Wasserman's actual page, and it's like pretty sure that's not happening.
Really fascinating.
I will say this. I'm on IMDb.
I'm pretty sure we all are. There is a very dedicated viewer in our sphere who like have you shown up on That Park Place or a pro show, then you definitely are. Like they track it. They'll even say like episode they like Marvin showed up on episode 512. Disney parks dying. Tiana's Bayou in trouble. Like they'll list it all out. I'm very impressed. I feel special. I'm like somebody documented me.
Are we talking about the FBI watch list or something?
Same thing at this point, right? Same thing at this point.
This is all going down in your permanent file, Spencer.
This is right. That's right.
You know what? I need some achievements in there.
Let's return to Steve Blackman and we can theorize. We don't actually have to theorize that much. This is a quote tweet on the Umbrella Academy showrunner accused of toxic, bullying, manipulative, and retaliatory behavior. Sources and an HR complaint. By the way, when you're saying H, it's an N right here. Complaint paint Steve Blackman as manipulative and chaotic, a manipulative and chaotic showrunner who fostered a toxic workplace.
There we go.
So that's going to get him.
Sounds like the 80s, like the Hollywood. The 80s.
It does sound like the 80s when bosses could get away with whatever they wanted to do.
By the way, there I am on IMDb as part of that gameplay.
Told you. Yeah.
Well, whoever is helping out with IMDb, thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, you guys are the best. See, I click on you, Marvin. I see an appearance on Gameplays, the Pro Show, the Spice Lounge,
too.
Lorena Crail, T3PO. Like you're all over. Everybody.
They love us. They really love us.
Out there.
Anyway,
yeah, exactly.
Not to pull away, but I just to
no. Yeah, we're off topic.
Add to this conversation. I think people are just jealous that he's getting work, right? And you know, if he's losing shows, especially those based on games, there's only two reasons: one, somebody else wanted to do it and was jealous he was, or two, the company or Netflix realized this thing will be a dumpster fire no matter who does it. Those are the only two reasons to cancel it.
Yeah,
and I hope that's true. I hope they're smartening up.
He's getting a lot of the same complaints that you saw, like Joss Whedon getting back when Kryborg, went at him because he made him say "booyah" and it, like ruined his career. And like Jeff Johns got this all. So like this is like a concentrated effort to just tear people down, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Well,
works.
I totally agree. First of all, when we're looking at a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, this is included in the PlayStation Studios. Sorry, or is it Sony Studios? I forget which of the two is the proper name for all of the companies that they've bought up over the years.
Sony Entertainment's
That's right.
PlayStation Studios.
There we go. There we go. It's very different. Those
Eventually.
two things. But now they essentially have to buy these studios in order to get them to make the games that they want them to make. I wonder just how much DEI they can put into a video game before we have a breaking point. Obviously, DEI Detected is there. Sweet Baby Detected is there, going through and checking out these things. Obviously, Grums has talked about a 2-year moratorium on buying AAA games. I wonder if that includes services like Game Pass and whatever PlayStation is calling their essentials and extras and premium in all of that these days.
I mean, I would just cancel those in general, like even outside of a boycott, because with the price, especially with the price increase for Xbox that came down the pipe today, these services are not worth what they're offering you anymore. Like, it is insane. Like, it's just the way they get you is they go, Culture, Jonas, Space Dave, Marvin, wouldn't you love this entire giant library of games to play? And you go, oh man, for only 20, 30 bucks a month, I can have all these zillions of games that would cost me 60 bucks a pop otherwise. And it sounds like a great deal. And if you have the time, it is a great deal, especially if it was like 10 bucks like it used to be. But let's be real, guys. Like, how many of us have the time to play all of those video games, or even dedicate to like 1 or 2 big experiences during a year, right? Like,
I think it has its advantages and disadvantages, and I'm not trying to
100%.
Just to be like devil's advocate. It is good for smaller studios that wouldn't get a presence, I think, or a game played,
100%.
because you don't want to drop the 30 or 40, to buy their and take a chance that it's not good. So at least you can try the game out and support the studios that are smaller that way. But I do see what you're saying. My biggest beef is it's non-ownership, right? You don't own it.
Yes.
But
oh yeah.
I would say,
yeah.
I would say how many games, I mean, unless you're an avid collector, most people do not collect regardless. They never play the game again. They put it down and that was fantastic. I'll play the remake. But most people, not me, I collect, but not everybody, right? So digital works great in the world where people just want to play and, play the next game and the next game and the next game and not collect. But it is a bane in society where, like you're saying, I do want to put $60 down. I want to own a copy of that, right? But they've rigged the game regardless, because if you don't have an online or that online presence shuts down, you cannot play the game regardless, even if you own the physical copy, or you got to do $3 million or 300 gigabyte updates, right? So at the end of the day, they have all the control, and it's in a world that's been funneled into no ownership anymore.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
This is a really good point, and this leads us actually into 2 stories. So Xbox jacks up price for yearly Game Pass subscription.
I did not know this.
By 25%.
Came down the pipe today.
Yep.
By 25%, it is weird. We need to get into this because it's not just a straight bump. Well, it's in the article, but it's so weird, guys. Check this out.
Yep. Microsoft and Xbox announced significant price increases for Game Pass that went into effect today. It's a good thing I prepaid for like 5 years of Game Pass. In a post on Xbox's website, the company shared that in the United States, the price for Game Pass Ultimate increased from $16.99, $17 for people who speak English, to $20 per month. That is a 17% price hike per month. The company also revealed the yearly subscription for Game Pass Core increased from $60 to $75, a 25% increase. These price changes go into effect for new members effective July 10th. That is, of course, today as of us recording this live stream. For those with a recurring subscription, the price change will begin on September 12th of this year. Look at that right here. This is Bill Gates from Xbox Studios there, just looking so disappointed with the gamers.
He's not even involved in them anymore.
I know.
I'm controversial, but this lady character is extremely ugly. Okay, that's just my opinion.
I don't think they did a great job on the render.
Of this while we have this up, I want to make this a note, because this is just more to how stupid everything is getting. So this is Fable, right? And if anybody here has played a Fable game, the big selling point of those games back in the day was this is your create a character. The protagonist is 100% unique. You pick, you pick their look, whatever scars you get in battle, they'll wear. If you eat too much food, they'll get fat. You can have kids, blah, 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 blah. It was entirely around you. There was a plot, but your character, it's like Dungeons and Dragons, essentially. This game, that protagonist is the protagonist. They're not doing custom characters anymore. That is the freaking protagonist of Fable, which means, one, that's not a Fable game. Two, yeah, they're getting rid of create a character to make you play as the objectively uglyified version of the real world model. Like, this woman is actually really beautiful, as is always the case with these things. But we're getting mud version over here. It's really bad. Anyway,
that is the Sweet Baby Inc. effect, because Campbell said that the way this journey started for her was she was playing Mass Effect 2, and she got to the scene with Jacob, and her black female character was talking to another black male character, and she was sad because other people had the option to not have that interaction between two black characters because they would have made their own character. They are now trying to take choice away from things like create a character games.
Well, it's even the same in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I bring this up a lot. Is in that game you have those two protagonists. You have Naue and Yasuke, and there's only been one other time where they've forced you into playing as two specific protagonists. Right? Normally, it's like, do you want to play as the male one or the female one? Never have they gone, here is who you are playing as. You have to play as them. Oh, and also one of them is a historical figure, right? So it's just more of that narrative pushing and everything. So I always want to point it out, because it's just so, all the stuff that we call them out for it's just like with the regular news. Everything we say, we call them out for, they say it's a conspiracy theory. 3 weeks later, they go, oh yeah, we totally are doing that. What are you talking? We were always doing that. Duh.
Right. Yeah, there's the other thing that is, of course, worth bringing up in cases like this. Even if you're a stinking atheist here, you believe in evolutionary biology, the male gaze, which is willing to look at a pretty woman for extended periods of time. This is like just something that is true for any person that if you have a straight male, he is willing to look at a pretty woman for a very long time. And video games involve a lot of staring at the screen. Why would you not make, if you have a female character, why would you not make them pretty good looking in the conventional sense of the word?
It's all about because it's just what you said, conventionally attractive. It's about, it's what I say all the time. All media nowadays just exists to validate the existence of whoever is creating it, whether it's the writer or the designers, right? So, we'll make you play as this ugly character because I don't feel like I'm conventionally attractive. So I want everybody else to have to get on my level and go, yeah, we agree with you. You are great. So I'm going to put my message and my politics specifically into this project and say, if you don't believe them, you're a bad person, because I need somebody to go, you're right. Jack Schaefer. Yeah, you were totally right. We love you. You are so on point all the time. It's all about validation. It's not about entertainment or good experiences. It's just about getting that, yeah, I'm so great, from everybody, from Kotaku, from whatever pundit these days wants to make a clickbait piece. I don't know. You can see where my frustration is going, but
right, because when it comes down to it, and this is a theory that has been put out there, and I've yet to see anyone come up with a good argument against it. You have people who run things like Xbox. You have Bob Iger over there at Disney. There's the CEO of McDonald's. And if you look at how much these things that should be children's brands, I don't want to say Xbox is a children's brand, but it is a younger, supposedly masculine brand here. You get these people that want to run these things from let's say a New York office, and they're maybe a little disinterested in what the actual product is. I think that they're actually ashamed of the products that they offer in places like this. So Bob Iger, I don't think he's actually interested in that kiddie stuff. The guy who runs McDonald's right now, I think that the idea of showing up to a place that has a play place and a clown hawking cheeseburgers, I think that bugs them to no end. So when they see these games and someone comes to them and says, you know what we need to do with our game is we need to enact social change, which is definitely not high on the list of things that I'm interested when I sit down to play Fortnite or to play Pikmin or to play, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It could even be Echo the Dolphin, which is obviously very heavy on the environmental aspect of that. I'm more interested in the game and the quality of the experience than I am on somebody saying, hey, you, why don't you make some changes about the way you live your life? That is not what I am here for. We Fit is not popular.
So this is which is unfortunate because We Fit Trainer, great character. She deserves her due. Smash Brothers forever. But
absolutely.
What you touch upon something very interesting, Jonas, because I don't know if you guys have seen this or the viewers have seen this, but recently, as in like in the past few days, one of the original authors of Dungeons and Dragons has come out and spoken out against Wizards of the Coast treatment of all the materials, right? Because as we all know, Wizards of the Coast does all the things where they go, oh, all that old stuff, that's racist, that's misogynist, it's all that blah, blah, blah. It's so unprogressive. It's so bad. We're so sorry for it. And Robert J. Kuntz, who was he did Greyhawk, Gods and Heroes and Monsters. Like he was there at the beginning. 6th person ever hired at TSR. He came out the other day and he just blasted Wizards of the Coast about, you know, you guys are just raiding corpses. You guys don't know what you're doing. Like, he was angry. But one of the things he said in there was really pertinent, which was essentially, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the quote in front of me, but they, you know, what is going on with Wizards of the Coast, the reason they do all this revisionism is because they fear what they didn't have a hand in making. They fear Gary Gygax. And it's true because they come in and they go, we want to do this. But they're afraid. They know that what they're going to do is not popular. So what do? They have to denigrate and destroy what came before because they're afraid that if people went and they looked at that and they engaged with that old stuff, they're going to realize that our vision of it, the way we're handling it is not the way it should be, and nobody's going to want to buy it. So the only way to get around that is to say, if you like that old stuff, you are an inherently bad person. So that's where all of this stuff is going. And it's just, it all links up.
Spencer, we're seeing that right now with Star Wars, the way they attacked Leslie Headland, saying that, people saying that what would George Lucas do is misogynistic, and how could you say that only one person could dictate what this universe is, and that we have to make Luke Skywalker a jerk, and we got to make Indiana Jones a jerk, and we got to make Han Solo a jerk, and it's all just to let the past die, kill it if you have to. They told you right up front what they were doing.
Maybe the problem is that we're engaging in this, and maybe we should speak with our wallets and continue to do that, and to say, you know what, I don't need to argue with people that are in this mental condition, and we'll just put that in quotes there, right? So,
but I mean, it's as Jonas said. I mean, the industry needs to feel the pinch, and if we can do what Grums, has suggested, and just stay away from AAA titles and vote with our wallets, as you just said, Space Dave, I think we win, because I'm telling you right now, these studios are going to be like, nobody's buying our games. We just spent $500 million making this game, and nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah, I think there's been arguments and discussions where people have said, we feel bad for the people that are in the background making these games, but at the end of the day, I only have so much empathy and pity for that, because you know what you're getting into, right? At this point, you know what world you're getting into. And if you don't speak up at the level of an employee at this point to say, this is not going to make us money, and you make the stand as well as an employee and say, yeah, I don't think so. No more, that's no further. We don't go, this has shown itself to not make money over and over and over and over again. And how many studios do we got to bankrupt till the message is gone clear, and it's clear to the executives, this does not work. I draw the line here. Let's stop doing this. Let's start making money again, right? And it's going to take employees and us doing the same thing, speaking up.
And I think go ahead, Culture. Yeah.
No,
you please.
Okay.
Please, no, Culture.
All I was going to say was it's going to take that for sure. You're 100% right, but it also is going to have to take the leadership at the top to understand that the cheap money isn't worth it if it comes with a fee that you have to pay to something like Sweet Baby Inc. You know, you have to write them a $7 million check and take some of their advice so you can make your game. The cheap money is not worth it anymore. The free money isn't worth it anymore. Because at the end of the day, you know, you have to produce a product that will put your studio in a position to make another product. You cannot
100%.
do what happened with this Zao, you know, whatever purple weirdness game, or you know what we're about to see in the Veil Guard, which you know has some pretty interesting ideas, but I'm not sure a lot of people that are Dragon Age fans are going to dig it. You know, I mean, we're releasing. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to give a quick note about Zao. While it is true that, you know, it was Sweet Baby Inc. influence and everything, that game also got super underserved because it was an indie, and Ubisoft did nothing to promote it. They basically said it's here, and everybody went, "What is this game?" And then once, you know, if it's not selling immediately, when the charts come out, they go, "Oh, look, nobody wanted it," and they shut it down. So like it didn't help that Sweet Baby was there, but Ubisoft also had a huge hand in that. That's all I wanted to note.
They're also more prone to just lay everybody off now that the work is done, even if it's a successful studio, which is one of the most predatory practices here, where, you know.
Because you're not building a team. You're building those are contractors, not employees.
Well, it's sort of like the difference between a restaurant and sort of a summer like pop-up stand on the boardwalk, right? Where teenagers go work there every summer. They're always rotating and they're fine, but they're just there to do one thing and give you the popsicle and you're out. But at a restaurant, these people have stuck around. They've learned what you want, what their customers are like, what kind of garnishes work with the food they're serving, what all of this stuff is knowledge that builds and they learn from and makes all of their products better, makes the production easier. I mean, that's what FromSoft does. There's an article going around right now where FromSoft was asked, how do you pump out all these games all the time? Armored Core, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, you guys are just going. And they're like, well, it's not that hard. We just hang on to our team. We train them. We reuse a lot of assets like door opening animations and models. If we're developing something and we cancel it, we just reuse that. We don't throw it in the bin. We just say, yeah, bring it over here. It's the complete opposite of what you see at literally every other studio. It's bizarre.
And I would also challenge to add
that shocks me, Spencer. The other studios just don't reuse things. They just let the team go. I'm legitimately flawed by that.
I sound a little hyperbolic. I'm sure it's but what I'm trying to let me restart. It's a little hyperbolic, but as you've seen over the last couple of years, lots of studios always lay off teams, close teams, shut down things when a game comes out and it's either not gangbusters or it's not something that they think will guarantee to sell. I mean, for example, we just saw there was a game earlier or late last year called Hi-Fi Rush, indie, like a hack and slash rhythm game, really, really fun, made by Tango Gameworks. And Microsoft said, that wasn't working for us. Shut it down. Get rid of that team. We don't want them. And now they're like, we got to focus on making quality games with quality teams. So it is very much more of a West-East dynamic. But yeah, here in the West, developers go, video games are in sort of the same spot as movies are, where prices are just exorbitant at this point. They're over the top. So if you're making something and it's not a guaranteed success, they're going to want to get rid of you as soon as possible. They don't want, if this first game doesn't hit projections, they don't want to go, maybe we can do better with the second round. Let's try again. They want to go, oh, get rid of them all. We needed a brand new team. It's sort of like, let's say we have that game place, right? And let's say we have a stream next week and maybe 20 people show up. It's awful, whatever reason. Maybe all the internet is down. But imagine if after that, Pro and Jonas went, no, this isn't working. Get rid of all of them, complete new panel, new gameplays, right? Like you would get new talent and it would refresh things, but then you'd have to build up our programming again. You'd have to build up our relationships again. You would have to build up the way we interact with each other, all that sort of stuff. And then what happens in 3 months when you have another bad stream? Well, if you're a bad Western developer, you go, nope, get rid of them all again, and you start over. But if you're in the East, you're trying and you're keeping people and you're teaching them and you're respecting them and you're saying, we can do this. Like, let's make this effort, and you get good stuff out of it. So it is very much just that disposable mentality we have over here. It's bad.
I felt like there was a pretty good bit there in making people reduce as you were talking about canceling that gameplay.
I saw what you were doing. I
He
laughed.
is in control here. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a very good point and well said.
Can I
Spencer.
build a little bit off that, Spencer, if you don't mind?
Please,
I
please.
I think we live in a world that lacks balance. You know, you've got these executives that have this goal to make print money like crazy, and I get that. And it pulls out the artistic side of things. But you do also have these artistic people that can't plan, you know, past one book or one like Halo's a great
Yeah.
example of that, right? Like again, these are IPs that could be huge, right? Huge. You could do 3, 4, 5, 6 stories about this. It's huge. But these artists are like, oh, I'm tired of Halo. That was one vision I had. Now I want to move on to the next. And I hear that all the time, and I'm like, oh god,
Good point. Yeah.
make money because the thing you created, you know, is not broad enough. You don't have enough ideas, or you're tired of the franchise, or whatever. I get tired of hearing that. It's like, be prepared that if you have a hit on your hand, build the world and become
Right.
there, right? Build the world and get your 45 yachts and your 35 Bugattis. People want that. They want an IP. They want game after game. Mario is a great example of that. How long has Mario been around? And you never hear Nintendo complaining, I'm tired of Mario. I'm tired of Link. I'm tired of, but you hear it from a lot of people out in this world right now. I'm tired of this creation I created. Well, it's printing you money. So how about you just take the money and enjoy this life? Now, you can take it in different directions. I'm not against that. You know, you can be a little more creative and tell a different story in that world. Great. But again, IPs want to thrive. They want to breathe. They want to be big. People want that. Star Wars has been around since the 70s. Star Trek's been around since the 60s. Why? You have to ask yourself that question. Why has Gene Roddenberry's vision lasted so long?
Bingo.
Because every generation, there's new stories to tell. This is a gigantic. Star Trek is not just Captain Kirk, though it is focused. You know, I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but it's also not just, you know, it's not just Captain Picard and those are great characters inside of Star Trek, but you can build more great characters and make money. And this is the lack of creativity I see in a lot of people, where they get focused on, you know, think of, I mean, what's the franchise everybody loved to watch? And season 8 was terrible. Sorry, I apologize.
Arrow, Flash, one of those.
No, it's a fantasy.
Oh,
I
Game
apologize.
of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
Thank you. Game of Thrones. It just
Yeah.
slipped my mind. The name. You know, the guy that hasn't finished his novels.
George R.
You
R.
know,
Martin. Yeah.
Right. Everybody's frustrated with the guy because he just won't finish, and he's just like, I got other things to do. You know, I got to roll in my money pit. Like, at the end of the day, don't pretend like you're going to release anything. Then just say, this is it. End it.
Yeah.
You know, don't tantalize people or go fishing and then not give them what they asked for or that they want, right? Or give it to somebody else like George Lucas and watch them trash it at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So be careful, like, with your creations.
100%.
Hold on to them. If they're making you money, don't be offended by that. You can still create side projects. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's so much money to be made out there with franchises, and I'm baffled at people that don't understand that.
Well, it's sort of like, look at Marvel, right? Stan Lee, and all of them. They made all these different characters. They had a sci-fi fantasy team in the Fantastic Four. They had they had the teenage superhero in Spider-Man. They had the outcast heroes in the X-Men. And they knew what each of those stories were. They didn't necessarily throw them into each other because that was what the what do you call it? Like the social atmosphere was at the time, like that, or the waves of the trend was going, right? All of a sudden, Spider-Man's not going into the microverse and hanging out with, you know, a sentient DNA, because that's the Fantastic Four's thing. But if that had started, Spider-Man fans are going to go, whatever. This is weird. And yeah, I think you've summed it up perfectly. Keep it all on point.
So the thing that I want to bring this all back in together on is the situation at Xbox here. There is more to this story here, but I think the fact that they have deviated so far from their core here is really the problem. Here's some more news. On top of the increases in prices, Xbox appears to be preparing to phase out Xbox Game Pass for the console. So maybe this is actually good long term. The company announced starting on July 10th, Xbox Game Pass for console will not be available to new members. However, it is also noted that currently subscribed members will still have access to the service and will be able to continue to enjoy your membership. This is contingent on members stay subscribed to the membership. Xbox noted if at any time you turn off your automatic payment renewal and your membership lapses, you will no longer have access to Game Pass for console, and you will need to join one of the other plans we offer for Game Pass.
So this tells me that they're not making a new console. Like, this is pretty bluntly saying, by the way, and they've been hinting at this in other articles about how they want games, their Microsoft games, on every platform. All that means is that we're abandoning Xbox. That's all that tells me. And I'm not surprised.
I think it's about time to abandon Xbox.
Yeah, and I'm a big time Xbox fan, but this is the writing on the wall, and I'm not surprised. Like, you don't take that service away from your core console without telling everybody at the end of the day, by the way, we're moving this off of this platform to every platform. And that's exactly where they're going to go with this. And
it also feels really skeevy, that whole oh, you can have it now, and we're going to cancel it, but if you have it now, you keep it. But if you cancel, it cancels too, and you can never get it back, because it's like, oh, well, now you're going to force me, again, it's hard times, there's inflation. Now you're going to force me to go, oh, I have to find a way to shell out $12-20 a month to Xbox to keep this, even if I'm not using it right now, or even if it's hard, because otherwise they're going to take it away. Like, that just feels really skeevy to me.
Well, in Canada, they already failed. In Canada, sorry to interrupt, they already phased out the annual. I noticed they did that last year.
Really?
They only have 3-month options now. They phased out Ultimate.
That's
and I
so
found
weird.
that suspicious. And I've heard rumors and, hints dropped that there is no other console. This is it. So, and they're going to kind of try to do what I think, they're going to go, I don't know what route they're. This is foolishness to me, but whatever. It's Microsoft's money. So.
Well,
the question that I have here is, of course, there's some differences here. Xbox Game Pass Core is console games, Standard is console games, and then Ultimate is PC and console. I'm wondering if what they're saying here is they're phasing it all out until it's only Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, to where they are actually where they're trying to sell the bigger service and more of the bigger service. And if you're going to do it, it better be something where they're charging you that big dollar amount for the big pass. And again, if it's 3 months at a time,
right.
My goodness.
Yeah, again, it just seems like they're nickel and diming all of their customers to death.
That wouldn't surprise me. And right now in Canadian, I'm paying, because of the every 3 months gap, now I pay $225 a year for this product, the Ultimate. And I'm starting to tell you it's not worth it, right? Like, there's not enough games, or not enough. Like, we're going to shift back into the old school, buy it if you want it. But it's going to trash a lot of companies. I think it's going to have a lot of ripple effects down the line, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Look, the you're actively seeing now across the board, and it's something I've been observing for a while. People now going against subscriptions of any kind. You're seeing people bailing out of subscriber services. Churn is increasing. It doesn't matter if it's games or television or anything else. And I have a feeling that people are just going to walk away. These are too expensive. Games are too expensive now. The whole reason that they've increased the price of games is to get people to do that, to jump on these subscription services. And I think your guys' natural assumption is that they're going to not have consoles anymore. I think they'll at some point stop supporting their consoles. I mean, Microsoft is like, they had problems making a profit with their original Xbox. You guys remember that story? I mean, I know that's a long time ago now, but the original Xbox was a huge loss. They made it up in games eventually, but they were selling that console at a loss. PlayStation, they weren't. They were initially, but eventually they got to the point where,
right.
They made it profitable.
And apparently Nintendo is the only company that can make a profit on selling consoles, because they intentionally keep it one or more generations behind before they release something. It's a funny thing. I don't think they'll ever fully abandon the console market, because having a box that you can literally plug in, here's the great meme that goes around is, my PC can play anything. And then the response is, of course, yes, but can your PC play anything? With an Xbox and with a PlayStation, with a Nintendo, if you're going specifically to the specs, I think there's a lot to be said for convenience. There's a lot to be said for people who will literally buy anything. I think maybe $500 is the most that you can probably charge for a console. That is on the high end of what people will accept as the price of a console, and they might have gone too far. And instead of innovating on design, then and I would argue PlayStation has innovated on design. If you look at what Mark Cern said about the PlayStation, I think that they're at a spot where I think they need to rein in some of their AAA and we're even hearing quadruple A from some of these developers here.
Shut up, Ubisoft. Yeah.
There's a point of diminishing returns here on making these things more and more fidelitous, if I can make up a word here. So I think that there will always be a market for a console. This to me leads to a situation where maybe someone else outside of Xbox, outside of PlayStation, and probably not outside of Nintendo, because Nintendo will always do their own thing forever, can create a box that will plug into your TV. And instead, we all know what the specs on that are, and Xbox can design for that box, or PlayStation can design for that box. I don't think consoles will go away forever, but they have to figure out something to where they sell these things for a profit across the board.
Yeah.
TV boxes, though,
games.
Yeah, TV boxes historically, whether like $1 billion companies could not get it to work. Not everybody has, 1 gigabit per second internet.
Yeah,
and it's just a technology that's probably 20 years from now. I'm tired of hearing about it. It's not going to work. Like,
we saw with the Xbox One. Remember, they tried to make that not quite just a game console. They wanted it to be like the center of this like Star Trek interactive living room with the Kinect and all that stuff. And that failed so spectacularly.
Yeah.
Right.
Now they're back to just games.
They will get the cart before the horse over and over again. Like Google saying, you know what, nobody has game consoles and everybody has internet. No. Actually, that's reversed. Nobody has good internet and everybody has good game consoles. Exactly. So what if we have a service where we just send you the controller? There you go. There's the Luna.
There's a flash
there. Oh man, right there. Let's blow that guy up.
Let's mourn this controller.
Is that thing officially dead by now? I know that Luna is still technically a service because I'll occasionally get a free game out of it.
I haven't touched it since the first few days I owned it because my experience was garbage, even on my amazing internet. So I was like, this thing sucks rocks. I'm putting it back in the box, and it's going to go in the dead technology along with my Google Glass and all other kinds of garbage I bought.
And your Ouya, right? It's in there too. You get it in the box.
And I will also say
that
that I have a very highly placed source from a game company that told me that originally Google laid out how much they were going to be spending on the Stadia, and he said, no, I think they're here to stay. And somebody came in there and pulled the plug on everything. I do remember also getting refunds on most of the games that I bought for Stadia, which is, I think you're muted there, Spencer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't believe you tried it. You might be like the second person I've ever met who's actually tried the Stadia.
Well, I bought a bunch of Assassin's Creed games, and it was not reactive enough. And this was the problem: is when you play games, you expect the controller to work. So when the controller has to ping to a server across, we can barely have StreamYard conversations and not have a delay. Anyways, with
10 years, 10 years.
Exactly. With that being said, we have reached 2 hours of a wonderful gaming conversation here. I have had a blast. Let's go around the pike and talk about where people can find you. Space Dave, I know that your review will be coming out soon on That Game Place. Is there anything else that you want to tell us that you're working on here for the future?
Everything is secret, sir. I can't reveal any of my knowledge or my sources, or I might disappear from this world. So, but yeah, you'll find me at That Game Place once in a blue moon. I will be on a panel or two and trying to help where I can help. So, in the background, pulling levers, touching buttons, getting things going. So,
but not that button.
No, not that button. Never touch that button.
Spencer, you want to tell us about the place that you work and the
Yeah,
things that you do on live streams?
So I work at that game place. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, as always, guys. First of all, I can't believe the stream's already over. I feel like we just got started. It makes me sad we have to wait another week for that. But as always, you can catch me on Bounding Into Comics every day. We're putting up new news stories. You can catch me live on the Bounding Into Comics stream every Wednesday. That's today at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be over there talking pop culture news, all that big stuff. If you want more of me alone, aside from that, you can catch me on my own live streams over on my own channel, Studio Kabuto, Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's a chill stream. We hang out. We talk about toku, anime, video games, all that fun stuff. Sounds up your alley. Come hang out. And as always, subscribe to us here at That Game Place. Like everything. Hit that bell. I am personally inspired by a lot of the conversations we had today in terms of content and streaming and reviews and all that stuff. So I'm gearing up. I'm excited. I want to do more. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. Marvin the Movie Monster, you just hit a big milestone in like no time at all.
Did you do it?
Tell everybody.
Well, right now we're about to hit another one. We're sitting at Toontown TV right now. We are 2 subscribers away from 2,000 right now. We've been at 1998 for like the last like 2 hours. So I'm anticipating hitting 2,000 today. I'm hoping that's going to actually happen. But yeah, Toontown TV, less than 2 months old. I think less than a month and a half old at this point, and we are already rocking and rolling. We just put out an Acolyte review. Yesterday we've got a 1.9. Oh my goodness, it's so
all right, guys.
Watch this. Done.
You're the best.
There it is.
There
it is. Right here.
Congratulations.
2,000.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Opening into comics, 2,000
go
subscribers.
Let's
subscribe
down. Take you back down. But yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I am. So we're doing. We just put up a video on Rings of Power. We got a Gladiator 2 trailer reaction coming, and Agatha all along trailer reaction coming, and so much more daily content coming on Toontown TV, Toontown Wrestling. Of course, we also have our weekly live stream Toonie Talk Wrestling and our scripted weekly series, the Headlock Headlines, where I'm interacting with Puppet Triple H and Puppet Tony Khan, and we're having hilarious antics. And
I gotta plug that show. That is a great show, man. I love it so far.
Thanks
and
so much.
Your Roddy Piper is spot on, sir.
Yeah, the ghost of Roddy Piper has recently joined the cast. So, so thanks for everyone that supported. And if you want to come over and subscribe to the channels, we'd love to have you in the Toontown Empire.
By the way, OCDD, good to see you there in the chat, and she subscribed. So
thank you, OCDD.
Excellent.
Oh, and tomorrow night we're gonna have a live stream, Toonie Talk TV, 8 p.m. on Toontown TV.
Oh my, that's on
our
top
new
of my
night time.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm messing.
I was about to scream.
But culture.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a time trying to find a stream night and time that I'm not bumping up with any of my friends. But I think I finally found it Thursdays, 8 o'clock. That's going to kind of be it going forward.
Awesome. And by the way, hello to the Emerald Productions. And I want to say thank you to Josh Hammond, one of our wrenches here.
Thank you.
Got a little dicey in the chat there before. And somebody finally went over to the line where we just hit him with the band hammer there. But you know who we won't be hitting with the band hammer? Culture Casino. Culture, you want to tell people where they can find you?
Sure thing. I just want to say that you can find me on That Game Place a lot. And you can also find me on my channel, Culture Casino. I know it's hard to remember. It's right here on the screen. You can check me out there. Be sure you're subscribed. Turn on notifications. You will not want to miss a thing. I seem to stream 7 days a week on my channel at various times, which is, I don't know, there's something wrong with me. And I have a wonderful Sunday night show that I kick it up to PG-13. Sometimes it might be R, but hey, it's
one F-bomb. He gets one F-bomb.
I do every Sunday night. I felt like I did all the good things in the morning on Sunday,
Shame
so
on you, Shame on you.
It's fine. But honestly, do check out my channel. I'm also on the Green Machine and on X and all the other socials as Culture Casino. So find me there and
excellent.
or B Square.
Yep. And tomorrow over there on That Park Place on TPP Live, we'll be talking about the 14,000 cast members over there at Disneyland that will be voting very soon. They've called for a strike authorization vote. So that is, I do believe, about half the people that work at the Disneyland Resort are trying to decide whether or not they're going to shut down one of the most profitable segments, one of the only profitable segments of the Walt Disney Company right now. So please go check us out over there. Subscribe to That Park Place. Thank you so much for being here. I also want to say congratulations to Ironcaster on constructing an end table during the stream today. Good for you. I'm very happy.
That end table place. We're happy to have it.
Oh my, that joke's never going to die, is it?
Never.
With that being said, thank you so much for being here on That Game Plays. Don't forget to like this. If you could, leave a comment in the comment section. The one that's below, not the one that is the live chat. Go to the other comment section because that helps us out here. And of course, what's the phrase that we're going with? Game on.